here today with candidates running for the Xenia Community School Board. The candidates are Jeremy Cox, Zavaan Johnson, Bill Richey, Joshua Smith, and Tamara Bartley. Jeremy Cox, Joshua Smith, and Tamara Bartley are unable to join us today because of prior commitments. We'll start our interviews by giving the candidates 1 minute to tell us about themselves and why they want to serve on the Xenia Community School Board. And Zavaan, we'll start to you. Why do you want to serve on the Xenia Community School Board?
Thank you. I'm Zavaan Johnson. I retired in spring of 2020 from approximately 40 years of teaching. 30 some years of those were in Xenia. I started in Xenia for the first 4 years of my teaching career. I left, and then I returned because I realized that I missed the balance of life in Xenia. And I then served 31 years as a music teacher in various capacities. I finished my career as band director at Xenia High School. I have 2 kids that came through the system. My daughter was a graduate of distinction. My son graduated with honors, and I was just proud of what they did and very happy that the Xenia School District provided them with a good foundation for what they're doing these days. Both of them are now in graduate school in the field of education. I wanted to give back to the school system. That's the reason that I decided to run, and I was convinced by some friends and some colleagues and some parents that they thought I would be a good person for this job, and I agreed. I'd like to use my expertise to help the school district advance a little further.
All right. And Bill, tell about yourself and why you want to serve on the Xenia Community School Board.
Sure. I am a Xenia teacher for Xenia Schools. I know the city of Xenia. I was born in Xenia in 1962. And my father was a factory worker, and I was the first from my extended family actually to go to college. I'm a product of Xenia Schools, having graduated from the high school in 1980. All 3 of my children went through Xenia Schools, and my wife and I are both retired teachers from Xenia. And we go to church here in Xenia. So needless to say, we're very invested in the community, and we want the best for Xenia Schools. I spent 37 years at Xenia High School. I love Xenia Schools, and I want the best for the students. And over my 37 years, I've seen good and bad decisions made by those that affect us teachers and the students positively and negatively. And I think if those people just making decisions would just spend a little time in the classroom with us, they might be better guided. So my goal, if elected, would be to make and guide policy that will improve education in Xenia and to make it good for the teachers and the students.
Now, thank you. I'll ask each of you the same questions. You will have 2 minutes to speak to each question, and then we'll move on to the next candidate and give them 2 minutes to respond. And Bill, this time we'll start with you. The first question is, describe the role of a school board member as you see it.
Okay. The school board member is very crucial in making policy for the district. He or she has to realize that they are one of 5. I think their goal is to work closely with the superintendent and the treasurer, and to make sure that all the decisions that are made in the best decision for the school system, for the students and the teachers. They also need to watch the policy and enforce any policies that are being made and make sure they're being carried out correctly. And they also need to work closely with the treasurer to make sure that the budget is being handled carefully, and all the monies that are being spent wisely, and to make sure that the monies that are being spent are done in the best interest of education for the Xenia students. I think also that board members need to be very active in the community, and they need to be the biggest cheerleader for the district. I mean, I know I've seen board members who, in my 37 years, who I've never seen at any school event, and they've never, I mean, I think board members need to be like in the schools to see what's actually going on, and to meet the administrators and the teachers and the students, so that they have firsthand knowledge of the good and bad things that are going on in our schools.
All right, thank you. And
Thank you.
Zavaan, would you describe the role of a school board member as you see it?
I think the role of a school board member is to be a liaison. liaison from the community to the superintendent, whom we hire to run the day-to-day operations of the school district, and also to the treasurer to make sure that the financial aspects of running the school district are well maintained, well taken care of. In addition to being a liaison from the community to the administration, we're also a liaison from the administration to the community. We adapt and adopt policy. We explain to the community what policies there are and what if we can explain it. If we can't explain it, then it's our obligation to refer to the superintendent and his or her staff, or the treasurer and his or her staff, to explain to the community what they might have questions about. Again, liaison, also representative of the school district. In many respects, we're the face of the school district. I say we as though I've got the job, and I don't want to assume anything because I know that it's a privilege to hold a job here. But I'm going to hold that particular responsibility. But I think it's important that we are, as Bill said, that we are visible in the community. We're visible in terms of football games, basketball games, concerts, things like that, so that people know who their Board of Education is. And yes, I've in my 30-some years in the school district, there are some board members that I've never seen outside of a board meeting that I occasionally would attend. So yes, I think it's important that we're visible within the community, that we represent our administration well, that we represent our community well, and that we have a balanced opinion of what's going on in the district, and we can reflect that to our the people that we hire to run the district.
All right. Next question. As a school board member, how will you address parents' concerns? Zavaan, you get to go first.
First of all, I would listen. I think that's the most important thing, that we listen to what our community is saying to us. May not be as easy as it is, because we're having people come at us we possibly have people coming at us with their concerns from different perspectives. And then after we've listened, we need to make sure that whatever their concern is, that they've gone through the chain of command, so to speak, remembering that the school board hires the superintendent and his or her staff, and the treasurer and his or her staff, to run the day-to-day operations of the school district. So if they have a concern, they really need to make sure that they've gone to their local administrator. In most cases, it's probably their principal, and they need to see if they can get satisfaction that way. I suspect that most of our principals would do a pretty good job of addressing community concerns, and that as many people there are in our school district, students, parents, non-parents, that the 5 board members can't possibly field all of their concerns, but we can reflect their concerns to our administration. And that's important. But most importantly, more important than that, the parents and other community members make sure that they have taken their concerns to the appropriate person before they attempt to come to the Board of Education. Board of Education is supposed to be like the last stop. If you have not gotten a satisfactory response from the administration or the treasurer, then that's your time to actually come and address the Board of Education individually and as a group.
All right. And then Bill, as a school board member, how will you address parents' concerns?
I will just say, as teachers, and any teacher who's been in the classroom a long time, I will say that most parent concerns start right there in the classroom with the phone call after school or at an event. And I think there is a chain of command, which Zavaan mentioned. I think most parent concerns can be dealt with by the teacher or the principal. And again, I think we have good principals in Xenia who deal with most of those. I do think, as a school board member, since we are elected by the community, and because the community pays the salaries of all the school's employees and staff, listening to parents' concerns is very important if it comes to the central office or to the board level. Everyone, teachers, administrators, parents, board members, want only the best for the students. So I think that we need to work to make sure that those parents' concerns that are heard are solved if it comes to the board level. As a board member, I would hope to think, if elected, that I would be open to all channels of communication. I know some parents. One part of every board meeting is at the beginning. Parents come and express their concerns. So I do think the board needs to be open to listen to the parents and to respond in a positive manner.
All right. And then, Bill, you get to go first on this question too.
Okay.
What do you see as the most important issues facing your school district?
Well, with this question, I really think there are 4 issues that I see. I guess I don't know, there could be a lot, but one thing that I would like to see is safer schools. And it's so sad in our teaching career, we used to be able to teach with the doors open and the windows open at the beginning and have no concerns about safety. But as you know, things have changed. One thing I would like, unfortunately, one thing I would like to see, like I said, are safer schools. I would like to invest in a resource officer in every school. I know at the high school we have one full-time and at Warner, but I think the elementary schools also, I would like to see a resource officer there at a longer period of time and to invest in safer protocols. I do want to make sure that we have a transparent budget in Xenia. I have heard not even as a board member, but just as a teacher, from people in the community that they're concerned that the budget of schools isn't always transparent and that all of the monies that are available aren't always forthright. And I don't know, but as a board, I would hope that since we work closely with the treasurer, that we can make sure that we're completely honest with the community. I would also like to see competitive teacher pay. It's very hard. I know probably other teachers who've been teaching as long as I have. When I started teaching, my wife and I we could have gotten food stamps. And it was tough at first. And I had to make the choice as a college graduate to be a teacher, and that's what I wanted to do. But teachers shouldn't have that problem of deciding on, are we going to be able to afford this vacation, or do we just want to eat better food? So I would like to see competitive teacher pay. So, there are several other issues, but those are some of the ones I would like to work with or work on.
Okay, thank you. And then, Zavaan, what do you see as the most important issues facing your school district?
Safer schools are for sure. And we have these new buildings, and we're rebuilding Warner, and we're sprucing up Xenia High School. With that, I think we need to have maybe not bulletproof glass in our buildings, but certainly bullet resistant glass. And I understand that within the context of what the safety that it would provide, I think we should have that in all of our buildings, and certainly into the new Warner building. There's a lot of glass in that building. It looks beautiful and everything, but it also, I think it makes it a bit vulnerable. I don't know whether they have that. I understand that they don't. So safe schools, making sure that the buildings are safe. Second of all, I am concerned that our money is spent wisely. I think we have a good treasurer. He's a former student of mine. I think he's a good guy, and he's learning the job. He's still rather young, but I think we need to, as board members, we need to make sure we look over his shoulder and make sure that the money is spent wisely. Respect and good pay. Our schools, the rating that was just given to our schools was disappointing. 2.5, which is less than 3. 3 is considered acceptable. And that's disappointing. We got to do something. And I think one of the things that we can do is make sure that we are respecting our teachers by giving them the best pay that we can give them. We can only pay what Xenia can pay, but nothing less than that. And also, we should, as board members, make sure that we continually respect our teachers and promote respecting our teachers, because I know that there are some teachers that feel like they're disrespected in many respects. So I think whatever we can do to indicate to our teachers that we respect them and that we honor their commitment to the profession. I've seen so many of our teachers that work above and beyond the call of duty that we need to make sure we recognize that.
All right. And then in closing, we want you to each have a minute for a closing statement. And Zavaan, you get to go first for that.
Okay. Again, I've committed to this community. I think I'm probably well qualified to speak for the arts community, the fine arts community. I want our kids to have a balanced education that includes core classes, but it also includes the fine arts. This is part of building character, and I want to make sure that those fine arts are respected. Again, I was the band director for the last 8 years of my career, but I was a music teacher for all 37 years of my career. That's the 33 here in Xenia and 4 that I spent in other locations. By the way, I left the district for a couple of years and then I came back. I started in Xenia, but I think we need to make sure that the kids have a balanced education. We have to make sure that that includes the arts as much as possible. We need to make sure that the decision making on the board has to be of a balanced nature. And I think I'm highly qualified to speak for the fine arts community to make sure that everything is done in a forthright manner and our opinions are balanced against the greater needs of our students. All
right. And then Bill, your closing statement.
Yes. Well, I would like to say I would appreciate one of your 2 votes for the Xenia Community Board of Education on November 7th. I am a Xenia teacher for Xenia Schools. I want nothing but the best for our students. Again, I was born and raised in Xenia, attended and graduated from Xenia Schools. Our children also went to Xenia, and our grandchildren will go to Xenia too. So again, I just want the best for this district. And, I taught chemistry for 37 years. So Zavaan and I have something in common in the same room. I would like to stress that my decisions will be all about putting students and teachers first and ensuring the education of Xenia is the best it can be. I will also make sure that decisions will positively affect the students and the staff in Xenia, and so we can have the best education. Not all of our students in Xenia will attend college, but we must provide the best comprehensive education that we can to make good citizens. And I like this quote by Martin Luther King Jr. He said, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep the streets, even as Michelangelo painted, Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep the streets so well that all the host of heaven and earth will pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. So thank you.
Thank you for your participation today, and good luck in your campaigns. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political process. The annual Voters Guide will be distributed mid-October in the Dayton Daily News, AIM Media suburban newspapers, and at local libraries, businesses, and schools. Early voting for the upcoming election begins October 11th at your Board of Elections, or you can request an absentee ballot. And however you decide to vote, your opinion matters and helps make our democracy work. So thank you.